I'm trying to model my inner Gus Johnson because I don't know if you heard the call this Saturday, but he sounded very distrait and just disheartened from his call for the Ohio State game. Our normally once lively Gus Johnson was just dead on arrival for his calls. You know who Gus Johnson is, right? This guy used to call the Madden stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They picked up a fumble. They fumbled the ball. He's like, and Ohio State picked up the ball and touchdown. It's pretty weak. It's pretty weak.
Pretty relatable, though.
But hey, welcome back to the pod. If you are joining us for the first time, this is the House 755 pod. We're glad you guys are around hanging at the house with us. I am your podcast host, Noah Marano, along with my co-host and producer. He preys on the Cowboys' downfall every year after daylight savings time. In fact, we do have with us the sun himself.
I mean, I'm flattered, to say the least. I learned some German this weekend.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
Oh, lovely.
I did. I never thought I'd say that, but I found myself learning 9.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, because I was saying no
okay.
a lot during the Panthers game.
I thought you had like a whole retort back to me in German.
No.
Okay.
I just realized what word I was saying a lot during the Panthers game. I was like, man, I should probably learn that in German.
That's a good one.
It was a really quick learn, if I'm being honest.
Oh, man. Germany, we're sorry.
You got a good game.
It wasn't a terrible game. It could have been a lot worse.
2 terrible teams, but a good game.
Yeah. It was a pretty okay game.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. That's,
Blowouts aren't fun anyways.
You don't want to. Honestly, yeah.
The only better game we could have given you was the Bengals-Ravens.
Yeah, but can you imagine like a Bengals-Ravens game?
There,
like in Europe, bro.
Dude, it would have changed their culture.
It would have changed the atmosphere, bro.
That game actually might have made it in their history books.
Especially because, we've gotten some good ones over the years in London. I will say, though, we needed that on Thursday Night Football.
Yes.
Thursday Night Footballs have been pretty rough.
It was electric.
Outside of this week was absolutely, it's the best Thursday Night Football game we've seen on Amazon Prime.
That's fair. That was a really good game.
It's a really good game.
It's one of the best games of the season. The only one I think that's up there was their first game.
Yeah, I would say both their matchups are easily probably the 2 best games of the season so far. Just electric stuff.
And even the Ravens-Chiefs opener was also really electric.
Great start to the season. Honestly, Ravens, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Because listen, you may be an offensive buzzsaw sometimes, but you like to let teams hang in there.
Yes.
And we appreciate it.
And you pull out most of them.
Yeah. And honestly, this one, the tables were kind of flipped in this one. The Bengals were kind of kicking their ass the entire game up until the beginning of the fourth quarter. That fumble changed everything. Changed everything because Bengals are going in to extend the score 28-7.
Yeah.
At that point, it probably would have been
too much.
It would have been too much, especially because the Bengals offense was getting whatever they wanted.
Jamar Chase was getting
dude, they're running plays because I remember every time I said it in my head, it was because they'd run the ball and get 7 to 8 yards every time they ran the ball. And the Ravens are a good rushing defense. Their passing defense has been atrocious this year, so I get why Jamar Chase did that. But Joe Burrow also was he was moving outside the numbers, he was putting it down the middle of the field, he was finding Jamar.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but they're playing way better than their record, which is just unfortunate.
It's super
sometimes
unfortunate.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
It might be an actual waste of one of the best years of their careers so far, which is just unfortunate because this Bengals team could be really good. And honestly, it's weird because they've got almost the same fault that the Ravens has. Where I agree, the Ravens on paper on defense are better, but the Bengals definitely lost Jesse Bates. That's their own fault. They lost DJ Reader. They've let key draftees that they've drafted, which is important when you've got that star quarterback in his first couple years, his first 5 years. Those defensive stars that you draft change the game.
Oh yeah,
because look at the Chiefs
for sure.
Mahomes is a little deeper into it, obviously, but they've hit on 90% of their draft picks defensive wise. So and plus they've still got Big Lou. I don't really understand why he's just kind of fallen off a cliff this year because normally he's the guy shutting down all the star quarterbacks in the league. And it's just this year, man, they just can't do it.
They started off slow. Then it was like, then they picked up, but then they just, some games didn't break their way.
Yeah.
And so now they're left with this record. Now at this point, although I've seen some scenarios, you kind of break it down, there is a small chance that they could still make it. They have to win out though, which based off their schedule, like is doable. That being said, if you're in the AFC, you don't want the Bengals to make the playoffs because they are scary.
Absolutely
in the postseason.
Not. They could ruin your season.
Oh
really
yeah,
quick.
very quickly they can ruin your season.
They do have a path. I think the only path at this point is the 7th seed, because one of the top 2 teams from the AFC North is going to get it.
Oh yeah,
it's going to get one of the seeds, and then it's looking like the Chargers are going to get it. Now, the Bengals do have it in their favor that they play both the Chargers and the Broncos, who are realistically like their only 2 opponents for those spots.
Yeah.
Because the Colts,
and they play the Steelers twice.
They play the Steelers twice, so there is a path for them to still make the 6th and 7th seed. It's still there.
In a narrow path.
Yeah, their margin of error has shrunk. It shrinks every week.
We've been talking about this for the last 3 weeks, and we say they pretty much got to win out. I mean, there's a little wiggle room, but they've got to win out. And then each week they've lost. Yeah, and it's just like I'm shocked we're still here saying that they have a chance.
I know, bro.
But I would like to see them in the postseason.
I absolutely want to see this offense.
It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And it gives them, obviously, once you get to the postseason, it's one game.
New season.
It's a new season. It's one game, and their defense, has shown obviously in this Baltimore game, although obviously in the second half, Baltimore offense started going crazy. Yeah. But the Bengals in the first half, their defense was playing up, and
it was cooking, bro.
They were playing really well.
That first half, it was cooking.
They're showing flashes of like our defense can, kind of get the job done enough for our, buzzsaw of an offense to kind of widen that gap. But it's just kind of unfortunate they lost this game. Definitely probably should have won. What do you feel? How do you feel about the decision though to go for it?
At first I was like, don't go for it. Like in the moment I was like, this is just kick the field goal. It's just like take it to overtime. They have not been able to stop your offense all night. Your defense at least showed that you could stop them, even though you didn't in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, fourth quarter there.
They at least showed that they could. So my first mindset was that, but then I kind of, after listening to some other people dissect it and reading some more about it, I also realized that their first game kind of ended the same way.
Yep.
Where, you give Lamar that chance, and it's like he's not as deadly as Mahomes. It's not as guaranteed or higher to guaranteed as Mahomes normally is, but like you give Lamar, like if they kick the field goal and Lamar wins the coin toss going into overtime, I don't think the Bengals have much confidence in stopping that drive.
Yeah. I agree.
And so I get it. And honestly, like I don't hate the decision. Because another thing too is if Joe Puts that pass literally less than a foot lower, it's in the guy's hands and he's in the end zone.
And some people argue like, and of course I'd agree like there was a flag on the play, like, and that wasn't called. That being said, I understand. I hear what you're saying. On the flip side, they could win the coin toss.
Yeah.
And there's a solid chance the way that offense was moving, they would have scored as well.
100%.
It's just a decision of, do you want to play that game?
Yeah.
Do you want to toss it up to fate?
Yeah.
Or do you want to like grab fate by the throat and like dominate and make it your own right here in this moment? One play, this is it. I respect it.
I do too.
I think both decisions are fine. Obviously, a little bit recency bias. Like we saw what just happened to Tampa Bay, like literally a few days before.
Again, though, Chiefs are just a different animal when it comes.
I
to
know,
that.
but it's the same situation, right? Baker was going crazy in that game. Could have gone for 2, maybe just won the game right there.
Yeah.
That being said, they threw it up to chance. Mahomes got the coin toss, and at that point, I did
hear a good argument for the Bucs point though was that the Chiefs still had like 37 seconds and 3 timeouts. Even if they go for 2 and get it. And we've seen the Chiefs do that a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. But, 37 seconds.
Well, all they would need is, like, from their 35, what they would need, like, realistically.
With Harrison Butker,
40 yards, maybe, to get into field goal range, and that wins you the game. But, listen, that's tic-tac stuff.
No, for sure. And, again, either way, it's not a bad decision.
No.
At that point, it's like, if you are going for it, you just have to be okay with losing in that moment.
And also, like, you've lost so many games at this point, you kind of just need to be aggressive, man.
Which
I get it.
I respect that as well.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
get it.
I don't hate the decision at all.
I don't either.
I
And
totally
also,
understand.
like you said, like the reason they didn't call that penalty is because if you're watching the game, Baltimore committed so many penalties. And also on that last drive alone, they committed like 5. Just like going down the field, felt like every other play they were throwing a flag on Baltimore. And I think that kind of played into it a little bit where they were like, they had just called the flag on Baltimore, literally the play before the touchdown.
Yep.
That got them close.
Yep.
And then it's like, all right, we just called 3 on them. Like they've been handsy the entire night. They've definitely been handsy this drive. It's like, are we gonna call a penalty to decide the game? I get why you don't throw it. At the same time, I've also seen that penalty get thrown on plenty of other defensive ends that just barely touched the helmet like they did to Joe.
Yeah.
So it sucks that like the decision again was missed by the refs. It seems like we're dealing with this like way too much in the league, but still, I like you said, I applaud it. Bengals, they got a tough road ahead. They play the Chargers next week, so that will in LA.
I know that's a tough
There's
one.
not going to be many Cincy fans, I don't think, in LA.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's a tough one that you have to go in that like it's a must win because the Chargers are playing really well.
Oh yeah. So let's get to one of the other games that was a nail biter. Because I just want to jump into this one quick because we've always like we've been following this team for a while. Commanders Steelers.
Yeah,
Commanders kind of lost grip of the ball game at the end. Honestly, they had a pretty comfortable lead.
They really did have a comfortable lead.
And I will say, as much as I would love to talk about the Commanders, I think this is less about the Commanders and more about the Steelers' place in all of this.
Okay.
I have never been high on this Steelers team. No. I'm not high on Russell Wilson. I'm not high on George Pickens. Mm-hmm. That defense is about the only good thing that I think I recognize that like is obviously good.
Yeah.
But I will say this game gave me a little bit different perspective on the Steelers team as like potentially a chaos maker in the playoffs come playoff time. Just because I'm not necessarily sure that, like beforehand, I wasn't really sure like how real this was. Is Russ actually cooking like this? Like it's a lot of moon balls. It's a lot of just throw it up and prayers and wishful thinking outside of the defense. But honestly, like their formula, they've got it so dialed at this point. Yeah, Russ might throw up a stinker before the end of the season. Maybe he does it in the playoffs. I don't know. But I will say this win showed me that like the Steelers team can win in different ways than just what they're used to doing, which is like, hey, we're going to bludgeon you with our defense and score like 15 points.
Yeah.
And now with Russ, they've averaged 30 points per game. I still don't think George Pickens is like a top wide receiver in the league, but he is one of the best, just can spot the ball anywhere on the field type guys. Like if you throw it up to him, you best believe he's at least going to be able to locate the ball and get 2 hands on it. And if he's got 2 hands on it, there's a 90% chance he's going to catch that ball.
Yeah.
Like that's just his specialty. And I applaud him for it because like listen, it's working. So, I mean, can I see a scenario where maybe they got to go on the road to Kansas City and like their defense just kind of plays really tough and they throw a couple moon balls go their way? Maybe they get close. I don't know. But I'm starting to see more of a path where this team can maybe win a playoff game. I still don't think they can get to the AFC Championship game. I still don't think they definitely for damn sure can't get to the Super Bowl. But I just can see them as a little bit more noisemakers than I originally thought they would ever be.
Yeah, I wasn't as low on the Steelers. I mean, I wasn't high on them. I wouldn't say like I was picking them to really make a lot of noise. But I'm in a little bit of a different boat. Like I've always said, I think Russell Wilson's last year in Denver was fairly solid, and that, it kind of just showed that he had a little bit more juice in the tank. And so I'm not at all super surprised of what he's doing here because this is what he was doing in Denver, at least the last year. Is he was just kind of doing what he had to do on offense, and like he just had a good defense.
Yeah,
I think Denver's defense is really
they look
solid.
way more polished though because the Steelers have actual offensive playmakers.
Yes, exactly.
Versus Denver did not have.
And that's where we're seeing the difference is like Steelers had like 1 or 2 more pieces on the offensive side of the ball, and their defense I would say is better than Denver's.
Yeah, 1,000%.
So
I'd say honestly, they're pretty up there.
Yeah, I would give the edge.
I would probably put both of them in the top 3.
Oh,
Like current top 3 defenses that have been kind of around for a minute, that have been like playing really well.
For sure. I would personally give Pittsburgh a little bit of the edge just because their defensive players are a little bit more.
I agree. They're more stars, veterans. More stars and veterans.
And then you have TJ Watt, of course. But so I'm not at all like super surprised. I will say though, after beating the Commanders, which is a young team, and we saw that the deciding play of the game was a rookie mistake, like a young player move.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm really curious. At this point, it's if they keep on this roll, playoffs are looking pretty. I don't want to say unlocked, but pretty like
for the Steelers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at this point,
it's pretty.
It's basically a lock that they get at least a 5 seed
for sure.
Like I don't know if they'll win the division, but
because they're in the Baltimore's
they're
division,
in
right?
Baltimore's division. Yeah. So I mean, they've got to play the Bengals twice. And then I believe they have Baltimore one more. Yeah, they've got Baltimore the last game of the season.
So those are
and
the games,
Browns twice.
Those are the games we're gonna really see like what this team is like, especially with the Bengals.
They play the Ravens next week in Pittsburgh. Then they play the Browns. Then they play the Bengals. Then they play the Browns. Then they play the Eagles. Then they play the Ravens. Then they play the Chiefs. Then they play the Bengals again.
That's tough.
That is a tough last 8 games, man.
But hey,
even the Browns, because it's just like it's a division game and Jameis could just get hot for like 2 quarters.
You can call it hot. You could just call it
even. Let's say though, like even if we let's say they split with the Bengals and get both the Browns games.
So got to beat the Eagles, the Chiefs.
That's already 10 wins.
And the Ravens.
And let's say they lose the rest. Maybe one of them is a coin flip. Like I see like 10 wins as their floor. 11 wins might be more realistic.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pickens made an unbelievable catch. Yeah. I'm telling you.
He does it every week.
A 50-50 ball is not 50-50 for him. It's like a 75. Yeah.
He's going to get that thing on Madden. What is it? Isn't there a thing on Madden?
Double me.
Yeah, he's going to get that thing on Madden for sure.
It's called double me. So essentially in single coverage, it's a guaranteed catch.
He's going to catch it.
So, I mean, that guy, again, all in all, holistically as a receiver, I'm not putting him in the top 10.
No. I think if you lined him up against the rest of the top, what we'd consider the best in the league right now, I couldn't put him there.
But as far as 50-50 balls, he is number 1.
Yeah, 100%. Like maybe not number 1.
Who?
I mean, I know Jefferson doesn't do it as often, but Jefferson literally caught a ball like one-handed, but like between a defender's hands.
Yeah. That was one good catch.
He's like I said, he hasn't had as many opportunities because he's just open.
Because he's open. That's the difference. Holistically,
but I will say
he's a better receiver.
He actually is like an underrated contested catch. I haven't seen Jamar Chase do it much. I'm trying to think of who else. Like, I don't know. I guess we wouldn't really consider D-Hop that much anymore, even though like he was that guy. He was George Pickens. Like 5 years ago.
When he caught the Hail Mary, but he was like 5 feet above all the defenders.
Yeah, just ridiculous stuff. It. I would say Larry Fitzgerald was another. Even though Larry could do way more.
I guess I'm not saying all time.
Oh no, I'm not either. I'm just trying to think of other guys who you knew like if you threw the ball their way, it was like
Randy Moss.
You had of course, greatest of all time.
Exactly.
Of course. Listen, when they invent the ketchup for you, like it, speaks enough.
When you catching it over another person is named after you, you're probably the best of all time at doing that.
All right, let's keep moving on. Honestly, a lot of these games, not really like there was like maybe like 4 or 5 that were pretty good and tight. A lot of them really weren't that great.
I'll tell you what game wasn't great. Freaking Patriots and Bears.
I was just about to say the Patriots beat the piss out of the Bears, bro.
I don't, dude.
3 points.
Alarms are going off in Chicago.
Bad, bro.
They have to.
They've got to be. And
dude, I saw a stat I saw something this week that was like the Bears haven't won an away game on a Sunday. They're like 0-18.
Oh, good Lord, Jesus.
They haven't won. You know the last quarterback as a Bear to win a game on away game on a Sunday was?
Oh, let me try and do this. It's got to be Mitch. It's got to be Trubisky.
No.
Is it more recent or longer?
I think it was longer.
Cutler?
I think it was Nick Foles.
What year was that?
I think that was
like the year. That was maybe like
before?
he was with Fields, so it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
it was like 2 years ago, maybe.
He won the Super Bowl.
That's crazy. That's super funny. That's
tough. That's so tough.
I completely agree. The alarms need to be sounded, and again,
I agree. It's the coach.
It's the coach.
I agree with you.
It's the
I think
coach.
they need to get an offensive-minded coach because I saw something that's like, there's no way you have Caleb Williams, which is supposed to be a generational quarterback. You've got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Roma Dunze.
It's a great
and
cast.
you can't get somebody open.
You can't get anybody open. I heard somebody talking about it earlier today, like where they're literally watching tape and like 4 players are just running to the same side of the field. And it's just like, there's nothing interesting going on in the route running. There's nothing interesting going on in the play design to get people moving, like in motion. DJ Moore, too, is like, that's a great player you could throw in motion a lot.
He's also a great, like in that conversation, like like a 50-50 ball. He's great at that.
Absolutely.
He did that for Carolina for a while. I think you need to definitely get an offensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's all Caleb Williams' fault, honestly.
The one thing that I will fault him for is he's been wildly inaccurate.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it.
And
it was never a trait of his in college. He was always a really accurate quarterback.
But when you're throwing to people that are like,
but they weren't
within 35 yards.
They weren't though, because like he wasn't playing at Alabama or Georgia. He's playing at USC, and like I understand Lincoln Riley's offense is pretty good, but it's really not that great. And also, he had nobody. He had Jordan Addison 1 year.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison.
No,
what team is he on?
Marvin Harrison came from Ohio State.
Ohio State.
So like they were, because he was scrambling all the time in college, and he was dicing defenses up. But he has just completely lost that as a pro.
But it's also you're also in the NFL. It's a big.
Listen, I agree.
That gap is pretty big.
The gap shrinks, but like if you watch some of these throws, he's missing just like open receivers.
Yeah, so is Bryce Young.
I know, and that's what's scary about it. Because like
Bryce Young could have
Bryce Young also
the game.
A deadly accurate quarterback in college.
He could have iced the game and had a guy. Not the nearest defender was 15 yards away from him.
Yeah,
and he overthrew him by 13 yards.
Yeah.
I was like, that is really unfortunate.
I don't know. Like I saw the trend. It's actually, if they fired their coaches, it would be just like the last 2 quarterbacks. So Mitch Trubisky came in, and they fired the 2 guys who were there. I forgot at the time. I think it was Fox, and then Justin Fields came in after his first year. They got him Matt Nagy. And then they fired Matt Nagy, and they got
that's what I'm scared
now,
of.
and it's like
that's what I'm scared of. We had this conversation last week.
Yeah.
Is like, do you want to just keep going down the trend of like you have a quarterback that you think is the guy, and then you fire coaching staff, and now are going through a bunch of different coaches, learning new offenses. It's tough.
It's tough, man.
But at the end of the day, I mean, I did see a report. I don't know if it's true or not. That Matt Eberflus, I think his name is.
He's the head coach.
Like that, they're doubling down.
Meaning
that they're not gonna move on from him. Like he's the guy. So I don't know.
Maybe that's just because their defense. But I will say too, like their defense has not been the same since the Hail Maryland. Just hasn't been, bro.
Shaking.
I don't know what it did, but it broke their psyche, bro. Like they just deflated.
They benched that corner.
Did they actually, like, officially? I didn't watch the game yesterday, so.
That next, I think, they had the Maryland game, and then they had a bye last week?
I knew they benched him, like, for a little bit after the game, after the Maryland game, after the Washington game.
I don't think he's back. Hey, he took himself out of practice. There's that whole story.
Oh, my gosh, man.
Like, he left in the middle of practice. Yeah, he's benched.
That team is just giving up on the coaching staff, bro.
Which is, like, so sucky.
It's so sucky.
He did make a big mistake. I understand. And really, really embarrassing.
Yeah.
But he was actually a pretty solid corner for you.
Yeah. This just ain't their year. They need to pack it in. They need to figure some things out. They just need to find ways to improve in the little details.
They do.
Don't worry about anything else.
Yeah. And there's a good, especially, it's not your year because you're in one of the hardest divisions in football.
Yeah. Wow.
You've just lost too much.
Yeah.
So it's like, just pack it up. I mean, look till next year. Try and get a good pick. I don't think they have any other picks from somebody else.
No, I'd have to look into that. I'm not sure right now.
So,
but yeah. So a couple other close games.
I didn't think we talked that much about the Bears.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I'm glad we did because that's just I don't know. That's just a weird thing. A couple close games. Saints beat the Falcons.
Yeah.
Divisional games, man.
Divisional games.
They just sometimes get new coach bump. We missed
new coach bump, divisional game. Those
MVS
are two,
bump?
No, I wouldn't have. I couldn't have accounted for that. I can't account for a new coach bump.
That's fair.
And a divisional game bump.
That's very fair.
So it's like with those two things, we should have talked about this game more instead of just taking the Falcons.
Yeah, we really did ride the Falcons are just the better team train.
Which is a fair argument.
I don't think that's untrue. I don't think it's any more untrue. It's any more untrue than it was, a couple days ago.
I think they're still the better team.
Yeah.
But,
they're going to get got by one of these division teams. It's hard. It's hard to win all your division games, man.
Yeah.
And they already swept the Bucs. Like going 4-2, 5-1 in your division, that's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So unfortunate, but, it's the price we're willing to make.
Yeah. 49ers beat the Bucs in a close one.
Dude, I'm telling you, this Bucs team is frisky,
They're
bro.
so frisky. Every week I watch them, I'm just like, man, I'm just kind of sad that they lost.
That's what I'm saying.
The receivers.
And I said that, and of course, our Atlanta Falcons fan friend.
We have two interdivisional friends.
That's true. I'm a Panthers fan. We've got a friend
the full NFC South, pretty much. Except I guess not the Bucs. Nobody likes the Bucs from your division.
Yeah, but we know people who are Bucs fans.
Yeah, we know a lot.
Because of where we live.
We know a lot, so yeah.
Where we live, we're right next to them. So it's it's just sad because I actually, even though I'm a Panthers fan, that being said, I didn't think we are going to be competitive in this division anyways. I was really enjoying them with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans.
They made your list one week. One of these weeks they were on your list.
I know, and if they had both of them, oh my gosh,
they'd still be really good.
They would be a lock for the playoffs. They'd probably I would be taking them to win the division.
Well, they already lost to Atlanta twice.
Well, they lost the second game without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So
That's
I'm just saying,
so
if
maybe
they
win?
Split.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
They lost a close one to them.
Yeah. You see the play where Nick
he
Baker
was holding Bosa?
I don't know about you, but to me it looks like Bosa didn't want to sack him.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that? Okay, and I know what you're thinking. It's the race thing. No, it's not the race thing.
I know.
I'm saying legitimately, I don't know if it was because he didn't want to yank his arm down and hurt him like a hip drop would technically be.
Yeah.
But he literally just looked like he was running alongside him and just holding his arm and didn't want to try and drag him down in a violent manner.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was weird.
They never played together or anything, right?
No.
In college or anything.
No.
I don't know if they have a relationship or whatever. It did kind of give that vibe that listen, if Nick Bosa wanted to, he definitely could have done something.
That's my point. You can't get him down.
And
I know Baker's a little stout, but really?
Yeah, Baker's a big guy. That being said, also the fact that it led to a first down.
Oh, dude, it was on a fourth down. A really tight throw.
Yeah.
So it was definitely looking back, it will be a play that's always on a highlight.
Yeah.
Because it was just a really damn good play.
I don't know if I could give you an answer. I mean, I think
that's just my take. It just looked like Nick. I don't know. I think in my mind, I think he was thinking injury. I don't want to pull this man's his arm out of his socket.
That, and then it's just Nick Bosa's not going to beat the allegations.
No, he's not going to beat the allegations.
He's not going to beat his allegations.
He did the dance. He did the little Trump dance after his sack.
That was cute.
He gladly took the fine.
Oh, yeah.
With a smile on his face.
Cheek to cheek. They fined him for wearing the MAGA hat, and he said, I did my civil duty.
I'd like to see the records of how many 49ers fans in a very blue California, blue San Francisco,
very blue San Francisco,
voted for Trump because of Nicky Bosa.
Not a lot, but he was nationally televised, so it doesn't matter. He reached everybody.
So funny, man. I will say on this 49ers team, though, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still not really feeling good vibes from this team.
Yeah,
I'm still feeling like this is still the down year for them,
which is okay.
It's okay. Yeah. It seems like they've reloaded a little bit. Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall played really well.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, we don't know.
And I think that's credit to McCaffrey.
Oh yeah, that definitely helps.
Yeah,
I will say though, I heard some stats and I was looking at them after I heard them. Obviously, Ayuk's been hurt, Debo's been hurt, but Juwan Jennings is leading the team.
Yeah,
in most statistical categories.
Well, he's also been the most healthy.
Yeah, but he's also been good. Even when McCaffrey wasn't there and nobody was there, he was getting open. He had that one game against the Rams where he just went stupid.
Yeah, which helps a lot because Ayuk hasn't he didn't play that much, and then Ayuk also remember the first 4 weeks did nothing.
Yeah.
And it's what people say because he held out because he didn't do training camp or whatnot. But Debo also hasn't been super impressive.
No, I have him on my fantasy. Is not doing.
So that
crazy.
one game that Juwan did, it definitely gives him a big boost
for sure.
But yeah, Juwan does look pretty good.
He looks pretty good.
And he had a
Ricky
good game.
Pearsall had a really good game. He
Yeah.
could be kind of like your little gadget guy.
A slot guy,
George
maybe.
Kittle's probably got another year in him, I would say.
Only one?
Another year or two. He's getting up there in age.
He's 32?
I don't know. He's definitely in his 30s.
Yeah,
and
he's
I
definitely in
mean,
his
he's
30s.
going to start, feeling it eventually.
Yeah.
He also just kind of strikes me as the guy who, like,
Once he can't give it his all, he's going to be out.
yeah,
Kind of thing?
yeah.
Like, I can't play 100%, so
yeah.
I'm just going to retire.
He's not going to drag it on, I don't think. I think when because he's such a personality, he could do so much else outside of play football.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going to want to play football, and obviously, he's hunting for that Super Bowl. But I just, like you said, I
Oh,
just
if he
think
wins a Super Bowl, he's probably
he might dip. Seriously.
which wouldn't blame you.
Yeah. But also, like, you got to think, even if C-Mac is on the back half of his career, which isn't saying too much because he's still very good, you got Jordan Mason right behind him unless he walks for some reason in the offseason, if he even can. I haven't looked at his contract.
He's a rookie, isn't he?
Yeah. And so, like, he can't really – he's either rookie or second year. He's not doing much. So – and then also just with the fact that, like, they've drafted some more defensive players that are starting to step up a little bit. So – like that safety that got trucked by Mahomes.
Yeah.
Outside of that play, he's been really good, and he's like a second year, I think. So they're kind of reloading a little bit secretly. So this is either a down year, or this is the beginning of just a complete like remold of their team.
With the infrastructure still there as far as McCaffrey, Debo, Kittle, Purdy,
same stuff. So
like the infrastructure's there, but maybe key pieces are just kind of moving around.
John Lynch is there too, still drafting people. So I don't.
Ayuk, I don't. They ended up paying him, right?
He'll be around. He'll come back because he gets the cut. He gets like you're still on the team because he got injured.
Yeah.
Outside of that, man, not a lot of great games. Cardinals beat the piss out of the Jets, which I was going to put a bet on that before the game. I couldn't really find a good parlay to go tag it with, but Dylan and I were hot on that trail of the Cardinals absolutely destroying them.
That's fair.
Eagles, like you said, just kind of destroyed the freaking Cowboys.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
Chargers were kind of in a game with the Titans, but the Chargers were just a better team.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're still cooking. They look really good.
For sure.
That Bengals matchup is going to be something we talk about at the end of this episode. And then let's get to the voodoo magic that is the black magic art that is the Chiefs.
That's so annoying.
Winning another game.
That being said, we took the Chiefs.
We did.
So like as far as for pick'ems wise, I'm glad they won. I don't know how they keep getting away with this. It's like
they're gonna keep doing it, bro.
I'm curious to see if they feel good.
Yeah.
As what are they 9-0 now?
9-0, man.
So as a 9-0 team, I wonder how their locker room, if they feel like we're the best team in the league.
I think
because your record says you're the best team in the league.
Yes.
But the eye test is not telling me you're the best team in the league.
No.
Even though you're beating other teams that I would think are better than you,
good teams, yeah.
like even though you're beating the teams I think are better than you, eye test is not letting me say that you're the best team.
I agree. At the same time, though, with what that team has already done and with what Mahomes has already done, I think their confidence is fully okay. I think they know they have things that they have to work on.
I think they're just like, we just need to get to the playoffs. The fact that we're 9-0 is cool.
It's cherry on the cupcake.
But as long as we make the playoffs, it doesn't matter how many wins or losses. If we're in the postseason, everybody else should be fearing.
1,000%.
God should be in you.
1,000%.
So it's like, yeah, cool. We're not.
You're still the overwhelming favorites, and it's still not close.
Now, what if this turns into like kind of like the 73-9 Warriors, where it's like, do you have like one of the best, if not the best regular season of all time, make it all the way to the championship or the Super Bowl just to lose?
I'm glad you said it because I've had that thought in the back of my brain for weeks now, and I haven't wanted to pull it out yet. But there is a world where they just pull a Patriots.
Yeah.
And literally, like, we're beat for beat, bar for bar, stealing what the Patriots did.
And if that happens, the Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes debate just is going to get a lot messier.
It's going to get messier because, like, it becomes closer to being like they are literally just the same player.
Especially because, like, but Tom Brady's still alive.
You also can see how they won their first 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
All of them were 1 year off, back to back. All of them were fairly close.
Yep.
And, like, obviously they're getting to the undefeated season a little quicker than the Patriots did. And the Patriots obviously had, like, Randy Moss. But, like, they had Randy Moss. I would say the Chiefs have this defense and Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce is, I would say, the greatest tight end of all time. Yeah. You can argue top 3.
Yeah, so I could see it, man. Especially because we talked about it last week. The NFC team we think is going to be on the other side is not going to be no pushover.
No, not at all. And they're hungry.
And we saw last night they know how to win when the cards are stacked against them.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
That being said, real quick before we get onto that game, Chiefs got the Bills next week.
Ooh.
Then they got the Chargers.
Bills have a history of beating them
and they're playing in Buffalo. They got the Chargers in a few weeks. Then they got the Texans. Then they got the Steelers. And then they got to go to Denver. So there's still some.
They could win all these games.
They absolutely could. They're definitely. I'm still not ready to say it's a cakewalk to the 17-0 because there's. I would say
cakewalk to the playoffs.
Oh, it's a cakewalk to the 1 seed if they beat the Bills this week.
Oh yeah,
they've got the 1. They could rest pretty much the rest of the year.
Oh yeah,
and still have the 1 seed.
Oh yeah.
So
they beat the Bills, we're in trouble.
Yeah. So
that being said, I'm taking Bills.
This might be the week we
have we picked
against the Chiefs yet?
We did once.
What did we pick against them on?
I don't remember.
So they played maybe the Falcons game, maybe the Bengals game,
the Bucks game. Maybe. No, we took them.
No, maybe you wanted to take them for the Niners game, and I took them for.
It was very recently. You said, "Listen, if we take the Chiefs every single week, what their floor is 3 losses,
3 wrong answers.
So then, what if we just take?" And since you said that, which was a few weeks ago, we've taken the Chiefs every single time.
Yeah, it's some galaxy brain stuff, but
it is galaxy brain for sure.
We're here. Real briefly before we get into our ISO moments, Lions, dude. I was texting y'all. Y'all weren't texting me back, and I
wasn't watching.
I was freaking out. Interception after interception after interception after interception, and guess what? If you flipped away, came back, another interception was thrown in the time that you were gone.
It was crazy.
It was insane. 7 interceptions.
That's a lot.
And 4 of them were back to back to back to back.
The fact that 5 came from Goff is crazy.
Hey, Goff, thank you. You made my boy Sam look a lot better today. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot.
That being said, Jared Goff has thrown more than 4 interceptions, I believe 6 times in his career.
Yeah.
He is 6-0.
That's crazy, bro. That's insane. That's so wild.
He has thrown more than 4 interceptions in 6 games in his career.
What the hell?
He has won every single game.
That's so stupid, bro. That's so stupid. I was like, because people were pulling the 5 interception stats. What have we seen in NFL history? It's like that. We haven't seen 5 interception games like that since the 70s,
bro.
When we didn't have real quarterbacks.
Dude, if some quarterbacks throw 1 in a game, they've lost the game.
Yeah.
2, good chance you lost. You throw 3, man, this is not you're getting blown out.
Yeah.
If you throw 4, there is no chance you're winning this game.
Chance.
If you throw 5 interceptions in a game, you have no business working in the NFL. Yet Jared Goff is 6-0 with throwing 4 more interceptions.
Greg Popovich did, bro. He said,
he's I think he was listen, Coach Campbell, I've already thrown 4.
Why take me out now?
Let me just throw 1 more.
And honestly,
Coach, I heard you wanted to test our defense. I've got you.
I've got just the plan for you, Coach.
But also, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
CJ threw 2.
Yeah.
I'm not the best at math, but if you cancel them out, the Texans still had a 3 possession advantage.
It's ridiculous, bro.
And they still lost the game.
It's ridiculous because the Texans were winning that game all first half, and then the Lions came out and punched them in the mouth the second half. Just playing smart ball. It wasn't in any fancy way like they normally do.
I mean, you could say throwing 5 interceptions and still winning the game, that's scary that your team is able to do that.
Yeah.
But even what you're saying is the way they were playing too wasn't it wasn't okay, the Lions pulled this out even though they had that deficit because they were just dramatically better.
Yeah.
I would not say that.
No.
I would say the Texans are still a pretty solid team, even though they haven't played to their, capabilities. But the fact that the Lions were just playing good ball.
Dude, it was just one play at a time the whole second half, and it got them back in the game all the way up to, and he squeaked in Like I think I think there's like paint missing off both sides of the goalpost.
Yeah.
Because both of them were like,
dude,
scraping it.
And there was
it was insane.
their kicker is also, speaking of kickers, hold on. When is Jake Moody going to get fired from the NFL?
Well, he made the game-winning one, so he's probably saved himself.
And that's what's annoying. Is because he missed like 4 field goals.
Yeah.
Oh
and then he saved himself with the last one.
And then he saved himself by hitting a game winner.
Oh, and then our we'll get to him later, but the Vikings backup too.
Yeah.
Romo's third cousin. I don't know.
Sure.
He did it.
He did it for you.
He scored all the points.
That's about it.
But yeah, dude, this Lions team, man, they just, you know.
Hey, man.
And if you hear Goff talk about it afterwards, because they were asking, they were like, yo, so like what the hell's wrong with you with the 5 picks? And he was like, honestly, man, like I felt good. And if you go look at them, like I don't feel like they were bad. And honestly, like watching them, they really like a couple of them were just like, I guess you can consider overthrown balls, but like I feel like more it was kind of the receivers thing, because like I felt like Goff was throwing it to the spot that he always throws it at or needs to be at, and then some of them were just great defensive plays by the secondary. So it's like, you know, not what you can do. But yeah, that concludes all the games that, you know, aren't our team. So let's get into our little ISO ball moment. I'll clear out.
Yeah.
I'll give you the floor for that Germany game.
Yeah.
You want to do it in German? Are you gonna do the whole next segment in German?
Yeah, but we'll film that one after.
Okay. I think I can actually do it with AI.
And then you can.
Yeah.
And then we'll just post it for our German fans.
Excellent. We got you.
So I'm angry that we lost.
Okay.
And I've taken this stance. It's not going to be my problem next year. So I can care less. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just stay tuned. We'll talk about it here in a few.
Yeah.
But I understand from an athlete perspective, tanking is like not okay. I completely understand. But I hate that we just show up randomly. And I hate that we are the worst team in the NFL, but we're not the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, about to say, are you anymore? I don't know if you are anymore, man.
We're not. Because there's teams that look worse than us.
You've got the same record as the Dallas Cowboys right now, who honestly look a lot worse than you guys.
They do. And their stadium looks a lot worse than ours.
It's so bright. It's so bright.
I'm here. So it's, I don't know. I'm mad that we lost, because it's like you're just giving us a worse and worse draft pick every win.
Fair.
And I mean, honestly, what's sad is there is a small chance that actually we can make the playoffs.
Crazy.
The window is still open. It's not closed. So I don't think we'll get there. But the fact that now, I mean, we'll probably get we'll get a top 10 pick, but probably the bottom 5 of that.
Yeah.
With the way that we're kind of playing.
Yeah.
People have asked me if I believe in Bryce Young now.
No.
I still answer no, I do not.
No.
There were still plays that he looked bad. But on the flip side, there were some plays he made that looked pretty okay.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard is a guy. That's all I'm going to say. That dude had the best game of his career.
Yeah.
Which, attaboy.
Attaboy, baby.
If you want to leave with me in free agency, you can. Even though the Panthers did just extend him. So
yeah, they did give him that contract.
So I'm happy for him. Chuba, listen, I love you. I love you not as much as I love McCaffrey. But I do love you, Chuba. You are the bright spot in my every Sunday. And I just don't, it doesn't make sense why we won this game. I think it was stupid. Yeah. But hey, I hope we gain some German fans.
So I'm going to take what I did not think I would do, which is a positive spin on this game.
Okay, I like this.
So, because, you know, we did talk about this during the game. I honestly wasn't as stressed in this game as I've been in a lot of games this season, even though it kind of looked like we were just dead in the water for a little bit. My positive spin is I was looking at the stats today, and I noticed it during the game. They brought up some of the stats. If you look at like the breakdown of like every major statistical category of this game, we nearly tripled them in everything. Yards, time of possession, possessions on their side of the field, possessions in the red zone, rushing, passing, you name it. even turnovers were for a while until they leveled out because Mac Jones always finds his level. But
the last pick was so bad.
So bad. So here's my spin on it is that honestly, if you go back and look at the Darnold picks, 2 of them were not his fault. One of them was should he have thrown the ball? Listen, you're throwing to the best receiver in the league on a slant. I'm going to trust my receiver. Defender made a great play, stuck his arm in there, gets a bounce. Instead of the ball going straight down, it literally bounces up directly to the linebacker next to him. That's okay. Even in the moment, I was like, that sucks. That's not like a great play, but it's not totally his fault. And then the one in the end zone that was just blatantly incomplete that they decided to call complete.
That was crazy. I agree that was incomplete.
So
that being said, there's also another pick you threw that was called back.
Yes. So
I understand why they threw the flag.
Yeah.
But also the flag had nothing to do with the play.
And it was like a quick a little cat tap.
Like a hey bud.
Yeah.
And then the play was on the opposite side of the field.
And I do agree, like, on everyone except for that tipped one, he was putting the ball in positions that maybe he shouldn't have been. But honestly, he's been doing that all season.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to fault him.
That end zone one with the diving, incomplete, the ball was behind.
And also, like,
JJ.
Listen, Jefferson had like 5 completions for 50 yards.
Yeah.
Like, listen, this is just a weird game. And unfortunately, you're just going to have to try and buckle down and win some weird games.
Yeah.
And for the most part, we had 400 total yards of offense. We controlled the ball for over half that game. They had 140 yards total. 70 of them was on the one drive they scored on.
Yeah, the opening drive.
After that, they did nothing. So, but
it is the Jags.
I get it. I get it. It's the Mac Jones led Jags. I'm gonna stay positive on this game because this was just a weird one. I felt like this could potentially be a trap game just going into Jacksonville. After Trevor got hurt, I didn't feel that way as much. But at the same time, it's like one of those games where you wake up on Monday morning, it's like, oh, look, Mac Jones came in and threw for like 3 touchdowns against the Vikings and beat them in Jacksonville. Yeah. So, like, I wasn't guaranteeing our win, but we should have won this game, and we did win this game. I think it is telling still that our defense has held up.
Yeah.
Our defense is one of the best 3 in the league. By every statistical category, if you rank like the DVOA, like the total, we're still number 1. Byron Murphy now has as many takeaways as every other. He's like tied second in the league for interceptions. And so if our defense can still hang in there and we can get through this month of maybe Darnold being a little bit more iffy, if he can kind of bring it back around, especially with Hawkinson getting healthy, Aaron Jones came back in the game, thank God.
Yeah.
But we've got Akers back there now too. I still think I was really rooting for the Texans win last night because it made the division a lot more in grasp. Like, even with them having the game up on us, we had that opportunity to play them later in the season. And obviously, we got to go to the Packers again. Like, it's still an uphill battle. But we're 7-2.
Yeah.
I told you before the year, anything more than 6 wins is a pat on the back.
So even if you lose every single game the rest of the year, you still kind of hit your milestone.
Yeah, hit my milestone. I'll definitely be sad if that happens. Because I don't want to witness that twice in my life. That's I just, that was a pretty low point for me in high school, watching that.
Yeah.
But I can't complain much. Listen, we'll get into the wild card. I think we can win a playoff game, especially in the first round.
In the NFC,
I still think if things break the right way, if we hit our stride at the right time, we can make the NFC Championship game. Do I think we're better than the Lions? No. But I still think we can maybe beat them just because, like, we can catch them on a bad weekend.
I want to see you and Baker in a wild card game.
Baker would probably beat us. I'd be scared of that.
Yeah, you should be.
I'd be scared of that.
100%.
I went up to Minnesota last year.
It doesn't matter.
I went up to Minnesota last year for my first game in Minnesota in that stadium ever. First trip to Minnesota. Week 1. And Baker ripped my heart out of my chest.
Hey, I will say, I don't know if I could say, I think we could have said it last week, could have said it this week. But very rarely can we say both of our teams won.
That's big dubs.
Big dubs. We haven't won a back-to-back game in a very long time. But the Panthers are hot right now. Kind of like my fantasy team.
Hell yeah. Speaking of fantasy, let's get through this real quick because we do got to get to our pick'ems.
Yes.
How are your fantasy teams doing? It's been a minute since we checked in on them. We've got our dynasty league. How's that dynasty team doing?
Not good.
Okay.
Next.
How's the pod league doing?
Really good.
Really good. You are currently still top dog in the pod league?
Yes.
Hell yeah. Your top dog. I keep narrowly losing games, but I still think my team is really good. Even though I'm probably going to lose this week, and I'm going to be 5-5. I still think I could.
You started 5-0, didn't you?
Yeah. No. I started off like
5-1,
like 3-0 or 4-0, and I've one loss. But mainly it's because I lost Nico, and then I've refused to switch people out. Yes. But now I'm past the point in the season where I don't have to do that anymore. So barring injuries, I can coast to just try and win these games.
That's fair.
Also, listen, Jefferson had a terrible week.
That's true.
My team didn't really play well. Jefferson had 9.8 points.
That's tough.
Yeah. So and Trey Henderson, who's led the league in sacks, had only 4.5.
Okay.
But I've got Kyron tonight. I'm up 30. My opponent has Tua and Tyreek.
Tyreek is playing.
So they would both need to get 20.
Yeah.
To put up a fight.
That's all they have.
But I've got Kyron as well. So they probably need to put up a little bit more than 20.
Okay.
So we'll see.
You can win.
I still feel pretty good about my pod.
Tyreek has not had a good year.
No.
Fantasy wise.
No. Yeah, real life wise too. And the Tua injury kind of scuffed his season. Yeah. Other leagues.
Also, hold on. While we're talking about Tua and Tyreek and we're talking about the Miami Dolphins, I saw a stat. I sent it to you. Every single team that is based in Florida, or the college, NFL, NBA, hockey, every single Florida team lost this week.
Yeah. It's the first time a football team in Florida hasn't won.
This is the first time every single team based in Florida has lost.
Yeah.
In the same week.
So if Miami
loses
tonight,
every single Florida team would have lost.
We've got the first week in NFL in history.
First week in history.
Football history.
Not even football. I think it was outside of football. It's all sports.
No, okay. I thought that too, but if you look at it, it only lists off the football teams.
That's still wild.
Because the Miami won this week, the Heat won this week, the Magic won this week too. So it's definitely not.
Well, I guess they have multiple games.
Yeah, it's definitely not all sports. But the Grim Reaper is potentially getting hot.
So is my team in the Reaper League.
I know. So your team in the Reaper League is really good.
Really, really good.
Really good. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, with McCaffrey back.
Yeah.
I have Lamar, Kamara, Kareem Hunt, Cooper Kupp, Scary Terry, Christian McCaffrey, Eckler.
Good team.
That's a good team.
Especially because number 1 seed right now, undefeated. But honestly, we kind of think he's a little fraudulent. He's got currently Kirk Cousins, Gibbs, Mixon, Flowers, Jefferson, Kittle, Hopkins, Sutton, Chiefs, Fairbairn. He had Nico Collins. He had Zach Moss.
And I had Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
So I took a big hit as well.
So honestly, his team's really top heavy between his 4 really big dogs. Not really a really well balanced. But listen, the Reaper, we should have won last week. We were playing the worst team in the league. We're not the worst team in the league, first of all.
Yeah, you're not.
We were playing the worst team in the league, and they had their best week of the entire season. And guess what we had? Our worst week of the entire season.
That sucks.
So instead of getting Josh Allen or Tyreek Hill, we got nobody.
Yes.
This week, though, we're going into a matchup where we had 100 points and they had 30 by the end of the 1 o'clock games. 30 total points.
Looks good.
And they had almost every one of their players playing. We've got Achan left, who could spoil our night. We're up 30 points.
He only has 8 chance. That's a tall task.
He needs 31 to win.
That's a tall task.
Not undoable, though.
It's not, but I don't think he's scored more than that this season.
If we look it up, he's got 32 last week, and he scored 29.5 and 26.5. So to say I'm sweating is an understatement.
So, let's see. Tua was out for 3 games. Those 3 games, he had 8, 5, and 2.
For sure.
Tua's first game back, he had 10. And then since then, he's had 26 and 32.
Yeah. And
then the 2 games he had to begin the season with, he had 23 and 29.
I'm confident, but I'm not saying this is a dub yet.
So for the audience, if you do win, who are you taking?
Yeah, so this guy's got Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Achan.
Yep.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes.
So it's going to be one of those 3 players. He's only going to be able to veto one of those players.
I would go for Amon-Ra Jalen.
You
got 2 running backs.
We got
already.
running backs.
You've taken Jonathan Taylor and you've taken Aaron Jones.
Also, though, a little bit of the play with these whenever we get to steal a player, and we've gotten to steal 2 players. Also, I don't think we've updated. We stole Aaron Jones and we stole Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
So we've kind of rounded out a running back room. The gamesmanship that kind of goes into this is we can ask for Amon-Ra off the bat, but if we do, they can veto it.
Yeah.
So the play we've been taking is we offer them the ability to say, hey, this is who we want. we won't take this other guy if you let us take him. Like if they really,
that's how it works.
I know, but not everybody buys into that because some people are like your brother, very very spiteful human being.
Yes,
we wanted AJ Brown, and he had AJ Brown, Aaron Jones, Garrett Wilson. He had a couple people to choose from, and we told him like, hey, we really want AJ Brown. He also had Drake London, who your brother is in love with
for some reason.
So we told him like, listen, we won't take these players if you just give us AJ Brown.
That's how it works.
I know, but like that's my point. It's like, listen, you can just give us the player we want, or we're going to take maybe a player that you really don't want to give up. Is kind of our thought process with it.
But then he would be giving up the player he doesn't want. Because if he didn't want him, then you could have just asked up
for
front.
sure. But like
you're like, it's like a business proposition that's very obvious.
Yes.
It's a business proposition where it's like you're explaining the rules of how this.
But there's
works.
more nuance that goes into it than you think. And I promise you there is. I
am not going to take AJ Brown, or I want AJ Brown. If you give me him, I won't take somebody else.
Yes. Like saying, like, listen, you can either because it's basically giving them the proposition to use their veto or keep their veto. Now, for players we're not playing again, that doesn't really matter too much. But some of these teams we're playing again, so that's the one we use it against the most because it's like, hey, we're playing you at the end of the season. So just know, if you use your veto, you do not have a veto next time we play.
Oh, that you only have one for the season?
You get one veto for the season.
Oh, that was never explained.
Yeah, it was. I can go back and pull up the rules for you if you want.
I don't think so, because I never actually thought about back to like playing them.
You want me to read the rules
You
too?
can. You can go back.
Anyways, despite that, listen, we need a big night. We're probably going to end up taking Hurts or Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I would say that's the best play.
So
you need a quarterback really bad.
Well, we played Drake May. It wasn't terrible.
14 points. And Jalen Hurts had almost 40.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts has been like top two the last couple
3 weeks.
Yeah.
He's been really good. But Amon-Ra wouldn't be bad either. So it's like those are the two. Like I would say those two.
And listen, if we pick them up, we have a pretty solid team right now. We've got Drake May, unfortunately. We had Trevor Lawrence. And we had Russ. We dropped both of them.
Yeah.
The guy we're playing actually offered us Russ in a trade.
That's funny.
We have Drake May, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Darnell Mooney. Salute you, sir. Thank you. Josh Downs, Mike Gesicki, Tracy had a good week. Dowdle,
fumble.
Denver's defense, and Tyler Bass.
That's what I'm saying. Honestly,
team's
bro,
not bad.
Jalen Hurts is probably the best move.
It is because our wide receivers have honestly been like holding because we have Juwan Jennings on the bench.
Yes, and you have Bucky on the bench.
We've got Bucky on the bench, and we had Jordan Mason all year too. So like if Christian McCaffrey is one slip up away from us having another top running back again. So yeah, the play is we've wanted a wide receiver. We just haven't had a good opportunity to take one without somebody vetoing us yet.
Yeah.
So our week was last week, and then we lost.
But you should have taken Garrett Wilson.
We talked about it, but honestly, like I'm kind of glad we didn't because that offense is just so
hit or miss. But when it hits,
Aaron Jones has been very consistent,
which is
very
fair.
consistent. So I'm feeling good about that. As far as my dynasty is concerned. I got CeeDee Lamb and I'm ready to boot him, and DJ Moore. I'm just ready to boot them both out the door, bro. And I've been like looking around the league for like what I could maybe offer to people for it.
I'll give you T for both of them.
It's just not there. Like the trade is just not there.
T for both of them.
No, I can't do that.
Why?
Because like my team is already kind of thin. I will say I got two good flexes recently. Oh, some balloons. I got two good flexes. Is that because I did this? Got Jamal Williams from the Lions. Didn't have a crazy week this week, and then I got Quentin Johnston.
Which we're not going to go into the JMO debacle, but that was highway robbery.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
He didn't end up getting Nico.
That wasn't my fault though. That was the other person's fault.
But because that didn't happen, that's robbery.
That was the other person's fault.
I understand. We're not going to get into it because it's a whole big thing. And
this is a trade.
Listen,
at the end of the season, we'll go through the fantasy trade that actually destroyed friendships.
Yes,
like actually destroyed friendships.
Like people leaving group chats.
People quitting the league.
Now and that trade is part of it. I think because I understand. In theory, why that trade was made for a certain outcome to happen, but that outcome did not happen. Therefore, that trade is very bad.
I agree. It definitely changes
so
you
robbed a desperate man. But listen, by all means, I applaud you. But yeah, JMO is a good flex. Who's your other one?
Quentin Johnson for the Chargers.
Solid.
He's just scoring touchdowns weekly now. So like that's all I need from him.
Yeah.
But I've been looking around for trades of like what I could offer from CD. The problem
trading in this league is really hard.
In this league, not so much. People are very trade happy.
No, they are, but it's very hard. One, because any trade you make, everybody gets super butthurt and wants to veto it,
bro.
Everybody's veto happy. Every trade is unfair. But then you negotiate with somebody, and the only way to get them to trade is an unfair trade because nobody has a sense of equilibrium. Nobody values players the same.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there's fantasy, but in football, it's really hard to have an equal trade where both people are happy. Because when you're talking to people, they want to rob you. Like they want to so glaringly blow you out of the water in the trade as far as value. And so sometimes that's the only way you can trade. Really, if somebody overvalues a player you have and undervalues a player they have, is the only way you can really make a trade because then they think that they're robbing you and giving you somebody that, but is obviously somebody you value high. If that makes sense.
No, I agree. It's basically American democracy in our league right now. Like you can't please everybody. The government is going to vote how we think is best, and that's not going to please half the people in our league.
Yeah.
And so
so every trade that goes by, just glaring reaction.
Most have caused controversy. I wouldn't say most. There's been three really big ones that have just like caused a lot of controversy.
And then there were some that like didn't move the needle. It was like two crappy players for two crappy players.
And after the season is concluded, we'll go through some of these fantasy trades because the Nico Collins one is something I will remember for the rest of my life. It's just insane.
Honestly, in this league, it was World War I.
It was crazy.
There was like I don't even know how many sides there were.
I'm not even joking. Like we were thinking we might lose like half our league because of it.
Yeah, it's not an exaggeration.
So that being said, I'm still like looking really good in this league. I'm top 2, and I'm gonna win again this week. I'd be the second seed still. I've scored the second most points, and I'm right behind number 1. I feel good. My only problem is I kind of like want to just kind of ride the CD DJ Moore thing out.
That's also you have Lamar.
I know he's been carrying for the most part. My thought is like, listen, I'm not gonna be able to trade CD for anything worth of value because everybody's just gonna give me pennies on the dollar for it. Same with DJ Moore. So I'm going to be in a loser's position.
But what if you trade Lamar?
I've thought about that.
Like package Lamar and then because you have Jane Daniels.
I know I've thought about that, but like honestly, again, I look around the league and it's like quarterback wise, I just don't know who's really going to want
to get a quarterback in return.
No, I don't. I know I wouldn't. Yeah. I'm just saying I don't know
who would get a star.
I don't know if I can though. I just don't know because I don't think people in our league are going to be willing to do it.
With a quarterback that's scoring 40 a game?
I'm telling you, I just don't.
I will do it.
I'm not trading with you anymore in this league. We've got like 2 more weeks left of trading of open season in this, and then after that, the restrictions for next year are going to be hammering. We've written quite the amendments that will,
which could be good, but also hurt.
It will be better next year.
Yeah,
I can promise that.
Trading, I think I'm going into the mindset of next year of no trades. I need to draft the team I like and make changes off the waiver because trading is too controversial.
You're going to be in a good position.
I am going to be in a good position, but I think I've gone in with that mentality. I've also kind of been thinking about trading for keepers, like maybe trading a really good piece. I don't have that many good pieces, but I have a couple.
Yeah,
and trading for like a keeper, but
honestly, that's another good reason I really wanted JMO. Obviously, he's my Bama boy, but like he's a good keeper. That's another reason I kind of wanted him.
Yeah, I mean he's so boomer bust.
I'll live with it.
Yeah,
as a flex, I'll live with it.
Yeah, which you can for sure.
Because honestly,
I like consistency in my flex of a 10 to 15.
Dude, that's why I love Rico Dowdle.
I know Rico's a good flex. I like my flexes to give me a consistent 10 to 15 with the occasional pop off for 20.
Yeah.
And then my stars.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah. So that's the route. I don't do boomer bust, which I know some people kind of rock that way.
Yeah.
But
the only boomer bust player I really have is Alec Pierce. Sometimes he gives me 30. Sometimes he gives me 2.
Yeah. He's a really big swing.
All right. So let's get on to our pick'ems.
Free agency.
Oh, our tracker.
Yeah.
Tracker. You want to explain a little bit of this to our new audience?
For sure. So, those of you that do not know, I am a Panthers fan, and I'm miserable. So, the beginning of last season, I decided to create a new form of fandom. And this is the logic and kind of the foundation is based off the fact of if my favorite player can sign a 4-year contract with us, the end of the contract, he can go sign with another team for, either more money, better situation, ring chasing, whatever it may be, then me as a fan should be able to do the same. And so once I created this kind of thought or way of new fandom, I decided I wanted to do a farewell tour with Carolina. I devoted many years with them, and so I decided it was only right that I spend one more year with them and give them the opportunity to win me back as a fan. As we've been going through the weeks, we have discussed many teams that are kind of on free agency look, but they're come with a couple stipulations or a couple rules. It's pretty simple. Essentially, no Super Bowl contenders. Anybody in the Super Bowl automatically cannot join. Any NFC or AFC champion or NFC or AFC contender is not an option. And then divisional winners is typically a no, but you have to make a case if you want to join a divisional winner. That being because obviously a divisional winner, could have been an NFC contender, maybe got a bad break in the first or second round. Definitely way too good of a team to be joining. But there also can be divisional winners that they just had a really good year, but typically probably not on par with a lot of other teams. So outside of that, pretty standard. Free agency, as far as me signing with another team, will open when free agency opens for the NFL. And I have to decide, or anybody who's adopting this way of living has to decide before the draft. That being because we want the draft to be the first. You
got to live and die with the draft like the rest of us.
Yeah, like we want the draft to be the first event as the fan.
Yeah.
So you want to be going into the draft like, oh, I'm excited for the pick for your new team.
Yeah.
So
So
you can give us a little rundown. What were my teams last week?
So our current leaderboard, we had the Commanders at 1, the Texans at 2, the Panthers at 3, the Bears at 4, the Bengals at 5, the Rams at 6, and the Lions a distant 7.
Yeah. And obviously the Lions, I understand. You already said it. I'm here to affirm you, to tell you that I know. I would say Commanders are still number 1. Texans are still number 2. Panthers are still number 3. Bears drop to under Rams. Bengals and Rams both move up a spot.
I got you. I kind of figured that was coming. I figured the Bears drop was coming.
It came because it's now I'm starting to. What's shaky is not the roster; it's the stability of the coaching, and the front office is not terrible, but the stability of the coaching. I don't know if I want to really deal with that. So, not to say that it's bad, but to switch coaches, but I just like the stability of the Bengals and the Rams a little bit more. I understand Lions are kind of like probably 0% chance, but who knows? Stuff could happen. Vikings could steal the division, maybe, and Lions can get bounced first round. At that point, I still
would probably argue you can't.
Yeah, that's fair.
And for those of you maybe cowardly saying we can't pick the Commanders, to you I say, piss off. We've been talking about the Commanders since week 1.
Since week one, the Commanders,
just got lucky that they were like 7-3.
That's fair. That's fair. So the Commanders have been there. I've got family in that area, so it almost kind of like also plays in my hand because if somebody asks me what my favorite team is, and if I do decide the Commanders, I could say the Commanders and say I've got family that lives right outside of DC. So
and obviously this is also kind of sparked from like what the Texans did last year, because Texans have a really good year. It's like, can we get on that train while it's still ascending?
And listen, Texans were like pretty high. I wouldn't say they were too high to get on, not too high to get on. But they've dipped.
Yeah, some of these teams
is low.
Some of these stocks have kind of floundered a little bit.
But what my biggest thing going to a new team is I want a generational quarterback.
Yeah.
Like I want somebody who is like, this is going to be the guy, even if the team, it takes a little bit to get
who's going to be there for 10 to 15 years and be the guy.
I believe CJ Stroud, even though the Texans have a down year, he is not playing terrible.
Yeah.
He definitely looks like an NFL quarterback.
He's been playing terrible the past couple weeks, but I would say overall. But
I would credit that to an O-line.
The O-line's been stinky.
So if he had a good pocket, I would think he'd play a little bit better. Yeah. But anyways.
But no, I mean, listen, we had a couple stocks take dips this week.
Commanders took a dip.
Took a small dip. Just a little. It's one of those little.
Hey,
on the trackers.
Should I pull up the stat?
No, don't pull up that stat. I think that stat is silly.
It's a stat though.
I agree. I just
it
think
needs
it's
to
silly.
be said.
Okay.
Commanders against teams under 500. So teams with a losing record, they're 7-0. Teams their record against teams who have a winning record, they're 0-3. So listen, that is not me saying that stat holds much water.
It's a little bit of you saying that.
It's not, but I think it needs to be recognized. I'm saying this stat helps my stock.
For sure.
I can make the argument that stock, even though their record is good, that stock is not as high as you would think. And to that I say I can buy in.
I'm looking at their schedule now. The only thing I'll say about that stat is I think it's a little bit of fool's gold too.
Let's talk about it.
Because listen, they lost to the Bucs in week 1 when the Bucs were like just firing on all cylinders those first couple weeks. Week 1 of rookie Jaden.
Yeah, that's
Daniels,
fair.
You know, they beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. The Bengals are technically an under 500 team.
Yeah.
But like, listen, that was a 38-33 shootout. You know, it wasn't
impressive.
No cakewalk. They beat the Cardinals bad. And the Cardinals aren't they above 500? They've got to be. I think they just went above 500 with that win.
Maybe they just went above.
But they're in the lead for their division, and they've looked hot the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
So that's another good resume win. They went to Baltimore and only lost by a touchdown, and we're in that game for pretty much the entirety of it. So I'm not going to fault them too much for that. The other teams they beat up on were bad. I will say though, the Bears, when they played the Bears, they both were 5-2. Like, yes, the Bears are now under 500.
Yeah.
But they were 5-2 when they played. And yes, that was kind of a freak play. So I'll give you that one, even that's kind of like a wash.
For sure.
And then the Steelers game, they just kind of lost at the end.
They should have won though.
Yeah.
I believe they should have won.
So I think that stat, while it is true, it's definitely it is a stat. I just think there's a little bit of context you kind of have to look into with the nuance of what they played and where they were playing and whatnot. But still, you got a lot. Bengals stock is obviously pretty low. So good time to buy in.
Bengals is a good
stock.
time to buy in. So that's
Rams were down pretty early in the season.
Yeah,
they dipped pretty low.
We'll see tonight how the stock kind of moves.
Two teams whose stock I've held that I don't think will get on your list to end the season, but I still think pretty highly of them. Chargers and Cardinals stay winning.
I don't want neither of them. And it's not.
I'll fight for them to my dying breath.
And I applaud you for it. But my thing with the Chargers is I just don't want to root for a West Coast team. That's just me.
That's fair.
So,
Kyler Murray, 3-0 since COD dropped.
Hey.
Congrats.
Good job. That game, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about it. It's not as good. Maybe that's why, because he's not playing as much.
Okay, yeah. So
but he's probably playing.
Maybe his contract is actually doing him some good this time.
Hey, it might be. It's awesome that there's that stipulation in there.
All right, let's get into our pick'ems.
Let's get to the pick'ems. All right, so this week or last week or whatever, we missed the Monday Night Championship by one game.
Sad.
We had 4 losses. Our losses were we took the Giants to beat the Panthers.
Yep.
Lost that.
Yep.
We took the Atlanta to beat the Saints.
Yep.
We lost that. We took the Commanders to beat Pittsburgh. We lost that. And then we took
the Bears to beat the Patriots.
The Bears to beat the Patriots. Lost that. So those 4 got us just outside
not
of
terrible losses.
The Monday night. Yeah, not terrible. I mean, one of them, the Bears.
Yes, the only one was the Bears.
That one was the only one that wasn't really
just
close.
Wrong.
But all right, going into week 11, we've got Thursday Night Football. We got the Commanders versus the Eagles. Both teams, I mean, the Eagles have been pretty hot lately. If the Commanders drop 2 in a row, stock is looking good.
Stock is looking low. They're in Philly, too. That's going to be a tough game.
It's going to be a tough game.
For the control of the division. Yeah,
and the Eagles, I'm more inclined to go Eagles for the sake of my stock. How do you feel about that? I don't think the Commanders are the better team. Also, the Eagles were on my free agency.
I would say as of late they haven't been.
As of late, which is what matters.
Yeah, which
right now matters. Not beginning of the season.
Listen, I'd really like to. I think they can do it. I will say it's hard to bet against the Eagles in Philly when they're humming a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's
when that Saquon hurts,
especially if I think they're going to split this matchup. I would say they're probably going to lose this one, and then win the one in
Washington.
Fair.
That's fair.
So I'd say safe bet is Eagles, even though Could I see the Commanders going in there and throwing up 40 points? Sure. I could see it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it's a huge chance, but I could see it.
yeah.
I think Eagles are just a safe pick
comfortable.
here.
Yeah, I
so.
think I'm going Eagles here. Ravens Steelers.
It is first matchup for these teams this year.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to do this.
I agree.
I think the Ravens are going to do this.
I think the Ravens are just, even if it's a close game, they're comfortable in those situations.
Yeah, and I do think this offense is a little bit of a different challenge for this defense.
Yeah.
And also, the Steelers might stay in it because they'll just be able to throw moon balls against this Ravens defense.
Yeah, that's also true. So we will see.
I like the Ravens.
Whoever has the ball last, I guess.
Yeah.
Jags Lions. Listen, if the Lions can throw 5 interceptions and beat the Texans, they can probably throw 15 interceptions and beat the Jags.
Doug Peterson has got to be fired after this game, bro.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Lions.
I've got Lions
in Detroit.
In Detroit, come on. Rams Patriots in New England. I've got the Rams. I'm sorry. I don't care if the Patriots beat
the Patriots
the
have been playing good, but I think the Rams will beat them. I don't think that'll be.
Browns Saints. Gosh, that sucks.
What a barn burner of a game. Jameis returning home.
I think new coach bump is gone. MVS bump is gone. Unless you think it's not.
Jameis bump back.
Jameis bump also very gone. Been gone.
Dude, I don't know. I hate this game. I say let's just pick the home team because I just don't love either one of these
Saints.
teams.
You want to take the Saints?
Yeah.
Now that you know that, you still want to take the Saints?
Yeah. I mean, I see it. I don't love it, but you feel comfortable picking the Browns in this game?
No.
I'd say,
but I feel like if we're going to take an upset, we should just take an upset here.
All right, we'll keep this one in the back of our heads for upset
Browns
picks.
are coming off a bye.
Yeah, we'll keep this in the back of our heads for upset picks.
All right. Jets Colts. Jets at home. I feel like just because they lost it last week, go Jets. I don't know.
I would say.
But the Colts aren't bad.
Jets are coming off.
Flacco is playing. That was announced.
Flacco was really bad this last game.
I know.
I'm going to say the Jets because they came off a very bad loss.
And that's what I'm saying. The Flacco, he's been playing a few games now, so his bump is dried out.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Now, if Anthony Richardson had been playing the last few weeks and then Flacco's playing, I'd take the Colts. So,
yeah, I think Jets are the right pick here.
All right, let's take the Jets. Vikings, Titans.
This is another weird trap game that we could just go into Nashville and just lose. Like, I'm serious. I hate to say that. I think we should win. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you last week.
I think you should win, and I think even if you have to play the way you played against Jacksonville by only kicking field goals, you probably can beat this team.
The problem is the Titans' defense is not terrible, and so it's like if they can get a couple more turnovers on Darnold, and we can't make the same defensive.
Darnold threw 3 picks, right? Should have been 4.
He threw 4.
Should have been 5. So if you do that and you still won.
He's not going to throw 4 picks again.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to throw that many again.
Yeah.
And your defense, I think, gets the edge.
No, I agree. Let's go to Vikings.
So Vikings. Raiders, Dolphins. I mean, you could say depending on Monday night, but Dolphins are favored by 7.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to win this game. I just think they have more talent than the Raiders do.
Yeah.
They should win this game.
Bunch of
stinky games on this schedule.
I know. They're in Miami.
We can switch to Browns.
We'll see. So we'll take Dolphins for now. Packers, Bears.
Probably.
Part of me wants to go Bears, but then it was a divisional game.
Yeah, dude.
So it's like, they're in Chicago, could get freaky, but the Packers are also just like a solid team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just solid.
And this Bears team is just not playing well.
I know.
I hate to say it. It's probably the Packers.
All right.
We'll go back to these and maybe switch two.
We have to switch a couple. Yeah.
We're going off favorites again.
Yeah, all favorites.
Oh, here's one.
Falcons, Broncos.
I guess not technically. The Broncos are favored in this game. Surprisingly.
Wow. They are.
I kind of like the Broncos.
I kind of like the Falcons.
Really?
Coming off that loss.
That's fair. Coming off the loss, but counterpoint. What day is this game? It's Sunday, so it's not a short rest. As an indoor team, going 2 Mile High, like the altitude does take effect.
Yeah.
And also that defense is still top 3 in the league.
Yeah.
If I'm going to take a trap game, like a surprise game, I think this could be one.
I feel like, you can, but like this is also, you're still taking the favorite.
Yeah, but that line could move. later in the week.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I like Denver. You don't like them though.
I don't like
That's
Denver.
so interesting. Why don't you like them?
I don't know.
They just put
I
up.
literally cannot give you a good explanation.
I know. I know they're division rivals, but they did just put up a fight in Arrowhead, and by all means, did everything they could to win that game. Did everything they should to win that game.
I agree. I mean, I just don't know why I can't take them.
We'll come back to it. I've got them picked for now. We'll come back to it.
Okay. Seahawks, 49ers. I'm going to go 49ers.
Yeah, it's another favorite.
I feel like this. Actually, let's go Seahawks. I'm actually good.
I'm seeing another team down the list that we could pick that will be an underdog. And I think you'll like
think
it.
we should go underdog happy, though.
Oh, that's never a good idea.
But it could be.
No, it's not a good idea.
So you want to go? You like 49ers here?
Seahawks just came off a bye. 49ers
just came off a okay win.
Okay win, not great.
Not great. But they do have C-Mac back.
I don't hate the Seattle pick. I really don't.
I know. I don't hate it either.
I think it's not a high chance, but I don't hate it.
Gino just does random games. He just turns into prime Tom Brady.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
Let's come back.
Okay.
Chiefs, Bills.
Here's one that's kind of the favorite is the Bills right now by a small margin.
But you want to take Chiefs?
If you want to take an underdog, we could take the Bills here.
I'm going to take the Bills. I think the Bills are the underdog.
They're not technically.
I know,
right now.
technically
I know.
not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But
That's my point. Is like I think
I don't know how a 9-0 team is not the favorite.
it's
also,
only because they're 8-2 Buffalo.
The Chiefs are the underdogs. You know how they feel about that.
I know.
You know how they feel about that.
I know they do. And so it's like,
ooh, do we take the underdog?
Because Pat Mahomes is just perfect.
Because Pat sees that and he goes, "Oh, really?
Okay.
The Bills." That's so scared.
So Chiefs.
Let's go by your logic. If they're going to lose a game, though, it probably should be this week.
It should be this game. If they're going to lose a game, it should be this game. If that's the only reason we want to pick the Bills, I'm okay with it. It's still hard to look at, man.
It's hard, bro.
Bills.
Let's go Bills.
Chiefs.
Bills. Chiefs, maybe their foot's off the brake or off the gas a little bit.
We'll see.
Maybe a little bit off the gas.
If I change my pick later in the week, don't blame me.
Bengals, Chargers. This is another hard one, bro.
Here's your underdog. I got the Bengals doing it.
Let's do it.
Here's your underdog.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take desperation.
Yeah. Back against the wall. They have to win this game.
They have to. You have to win this game if you want to make the playoffs. I think more often than not, taking desperation is a good idea.
Yeah.
The Chargers, they're in a comfortable position. If they lose, not the end of the world. Not great, not the end of the world. So I'm going to take the Bengals.
Caged animal is a deadly animal.
Exactly, I agree. Texans, Cowboys.
Just continue the slide. Texans are going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to go Texans because the Cowboys, it is hard to take the Cowboys.
Are booby.
So that being said, we got.
So
we went Eagles, we went Ravens, we agreed on Lions, we agreed on Rams, we agreed on Browns or Saints. We went 50-50.
We went Saints because they're home, but that's like not a heavy favorite. That's a very small.
It's 1 point.
Yeah, it's not.
So let's take
the. I think our two underdogs can be the Browns and the Bengals.
Let's take the Browns. Hold on. We'll take the Browns. Let's take the Browns. We took the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
We took the Vikings. We took the Dolphins, which we still feel confident about the Dolphins.
I feel confident.
Okay. Packers, Bears. I'm
feel okay with that pick.
You still feel okay. So we'll take Packers. Falcons, Broncos. You want to take Broncos, right?
I want to take the Broncos.
All right. So I'll follow your lead on that. We'll go Broncos. Seahawks, 49ers. 49ers are 6.5 point favorites.
They're also home.
They are home.
Hard. It's just hard to win.
And C-Mac is back. And
yeah.
So let's take the 49ers.
Take the Niners.
Let's take the Niners. Chiefs, Bills. We said we didn't decide. So we have the Browns as our underdog,
and the Bengals as our underdog.
We have Bengals as underdog. We want to take a third underdog.
Do you want to take a third underdog? Well, technically, Buffalo is kind of a third underdog.
That's what I'm saying.
But the Chiefs, man. The
Chiefs, bro.
The streak has got to end at some point, right?
It has to.
Buffalo. Let's do it.
But the Eagles started 10-1.
Let's do it, Buffalo.
You want to do Buffalo?
Got to do it.
I think
We got to get the 1 week they lose right.
we do because a lot of people are going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
So
I like the Buffalo pick.
gotcha.
I like it.
All right, let's do it. So that's our picks.
All right.
We went through them all. We took in the Bengals, and then we're taking Texans.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like them. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
All right.
All right, cool. That's going to conclude week 10 of NFL football with us. We will be back, of course, next week. So stay tuned. Glad you guys came around the house with us. We will catch y'all next week.